P&L trading show where I share my P&L on 3 accounts and my proprietary SafeWheel trade options trade plan. I share that system for free here. All right. You guys make sure that I wanted to make sure that you guys can hear me okay. So please put in the comments that you can hear me. And also be sure to post any questions that you might have. I want to get to all the questions before the end of the broadcast. So if you post those questions early, I'll be able to get to those. Walter says, sounds good. Jeff says he hears me. Good. Okay, thanks, guys. I appreciate that. All right, so let's get into what happened last week. I went with the earnings edge last week. I traded, let's see, Baidu. And you can see here, I made some money with Baidu this year. Last week I did $600 in profit, which was nice. You can see my P&L here, 8,818. Let's go to the spreadsheet where I have everything kind of calculated. So Baidu 600. You can see my record since inception. I updated this. I kind of went back through and updated 41 wins, 29 losses, and 9 break-evens. Now, since I did my update, since I did my last tweak to the system, which has been over a year ago, my record is 15 wins, 16 losses, 6 break-evens, which means that I'm about a 50% win rate with my average win 873, my average loss 512. So if you can win and lose about the same amount, but you make more on the wins, you can come out ahead. So that's what I've been doing here. Let's see what the P&L is. 8818. Let's put that in there. 8818. And what is... Wow, the market went up pretty significantly in the last week. It was at 420, and now it's at 452. That was a pretty big move. Okay, and you can see with the earnings edge where I did in 2022, 63%, where the market was down 19.5. And this year, 2023, earnings edge up around 9%, where the market's up 18. So the market went up significantly over the last week. But when you look at the overall total since I started trading, the system up 76.3% versus the S&P still down 5% from its all-time highs back at the end of 2021. So still haven't broken out of 2021. It's been almost 2 years. All right, let's see what the Premier Level 5 is doing. Let's move this out of the way here and get into the Premier Level 5 account. All right. So 35,811. 35,811. So it's up a little bit this week. And again, this started in April 8th of 2022. I wish I would have started in the beginning of the year, but I was still back testing it and getting the proof of concept. I was getting it down. So up about 12.2. The S&P was down 6.3 there in 2022. So far this year, the S&P is doing quite well compared to this, just from a nominal point of view, up 18% versus 6.38 now. But you get about 1/4 the drawdown, so you can actually kind of multiply this times 4 to get the risk-adjusted return. So this is actually, outperforming if you look at it from a risk-adjusted point of view. But also if you look at it from inception, you can see that it's up 19.37 versus the S&P 10.64. So since April 8th of 2022, the market is higher, but the Premier Level 5 outperforming there. Let's see what I have going here. Yeah, so we have the Premier Level 5 here. Let's go into now the SafeWheel. Okay, trading DKNG. Been trading DKNG for quite a while now. I don't know if it's been quite a year. It might have been. Might have been up to a year that I've been trading it. With the SafeWheel, I get about half the drawdowns of the S&P 500. And let's take a look at let's see, 6085. Let's see what my 6368. So down some. Oops. So I'm down a little bit, 6368. And when we look at the Safe Wheel 2022, 21% versus minus 19% on the S&P. And now year to date here, um, even on a risk adjusted basis, the Safe Wheel is underperforming a little bit. You got 18% for the market and 4.65 for the Safe Wheel. Again, risk adjusted, you could probably double that, maybe 9%. So still underperforming. But you've got lower drawdowns, you've got a system that's set, and if the market crashes, you're going to be doing quite well, as opposed to being in the market and not doing so well. Um, on the Safe Wheel, the totals since the beginning, and I've been sharing my P&L on this every week, up 27.3, and the S&P is actually again down around 5% since January 2022, when I started sharing the system live and trading it live. Speaking of that, it's time to trade it. Let's see, where are we with the system? We've got our put hedge here, long 3. Okay, and is it within 70% of the price? So it might not be, I don't know. So 38.58 times 0.7. Let's see, because we want to make sure that our put hedge, 38.58 times 0.7, we want to make sure that it is close enough to the actual price of the underlying to give the protection that the system needs. So it needs to be within 70%, and it is, because 27 is within 70% and the strike is 28. So don't need to do anything there. Then I look at the days, and if I was under 100 days, I would move this. So the put hedge is good. Now the next thing is I've got my long call. I put those on Fridays. Usually pay about $4 or $5 or $6 for it. So I'm established there. So I've got my hedge, and I've got my hedge for this. So I've got a double hedge here going on. Now I'm going to actually run the traditional wheel at this point. So I want to sell a put. So I'm going to go to DKNG, to the trade tab. I want to sell a put in the nearest expiration cycle, one that expires at the end of this week, so I can get the most theta. And I want to get at least like 38 cents. And it looks like I can get at the $38 level, I can get 40, 42. So that's the one I'm going to go with there. I want to be out of the money, and I want to get at least 1%. So that would be here. So I'm going to sell one of the 38 puts, and maybe I'll try and get $41 for it here. Okay, so got that for $41, so I'm filled there. Now that's the traditional side of this, the traditional wheel. So I'm pretty much done there. It's pretty simple. Just selling a put, and we'll wait until the end of the week, see if I either get assigned or if that expires worthless, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so that is pretty straightforward, pretty simple for today for the Safe Wheel. Let's get into any questions that you guys might have into the comments here. Cheers from Belgium. Okay, let's see. Francois, hello, Carl. How can I subscribe to the Earnings Edge alerts? Well, I'm thinking about possibly doing a Black Friday special for the Earnings Edge, so maybe you'll be able to get into the course. If not, I'll be sure to get a link. You should be able to find that link to get into the Earnings Edge alerts only. If not, get a hold of me through the community or email. I think you emailed me, so I have you on my list. Okay, some guy, hi all, I got greedy on Baidu and it cost me. Okay, yeah, we exited Baidu last week a little early. I think we got in on Monday and out on Tuesday, I think. So took the money and ran on that one. By the way, I'm a student of the EE course and the PL5. Oh, okay. Well, that's just you should have access to it now. We'll fix that within the community. No problem. Some guy still up 25% net on the earnings edge since July of 2023. Great, great, good job. Yeah, not everyone is doing the exact same trades that I do. Once you learn how to do the system on your own, you can do the trades whenever you like. And like I only trade one underlying every week, but a lot of the students inside, they trade many underlyings at a time, or different underlyings that I trade. Neil says, good morning. On vacation, able to listen to you live for once. Great, Neil. I appreciate that. I'm glad that you're here. Neil says, I think we've been trading DKNG since June of 2023. So about 5 months, maybe. I am not sure. I'd have to go back and look. Alex says, hey, Carl, when should we consider changing stocks when the one we're currently trading goes out of the price criteria due to the buying power constraints? Yes. So right now it's trading at 38.44. It's almost over $40, right? So if it does break $40 and I can get a clean breakaway, in other words, I don't own any shares, I would move. Well, actually, I'll stay with it until it's time to move that put hedge. Once it's time to move the put hedge, that's when I can reconsider. And when it's time to reconsider, if the stock is over $40, I would pick another underlying. So I still wait for the cycle to complete, even though the price is a little bit higher than $40 or lower than 20. MRC says, have you looked at replacing the put hedge with several long put debit spreads? Mostly the same downside protection, but less theta decay. Yeah, I like the idea. I just haven't back tested it, and I want to keep the system as simple as possible. So it's much easier buying just one single put than it is to buy debit spreads. But I like the idea, and if you get a little more advanced, there might be some advantages to that. Of course, when there's a crash, the put by itself is much more powerful. And in fact, even the overall put by itself is much more powerful as a hedge. So that needs to be considered. Bill says, looking for new positions to trade the safe wheel with, not finding much. How do you screen for these? That's a long process that when I go in and do this again, or when I change stocks, I'll definitely go through that screening process. Or there are, in the archives, whenever I changed stocks, you'll be able to see me go through that screening process. But it's a good question, but I don't want to go through all of that right now. I actually have to kind of prepare myself a little bit better too, because I've got like a list, and I've got like I'll have the course thing right in front of me, and I'll make sure that I don't miss anything with that. So it's like a 6. I can't remember how many. I think there's 4, 5, or 6 filters. Avery says, I can fix it for you, Francois. Okay, thanks, Avery. Will says, enjoy your Thanksgiving. Yes, thanks, Will. You guys all enjoy your Thanksgiving also coming up on this Thursday. So the market will be closed on Thursday and half a day on Friday. So it closes early Friday. Anthony says, hey, Carl, is the safe wheel considered a bearish trade? I opened my DKNG safe wheel on 925, but I'm down 2%, while DKNG is up about 35% during that time. I would not consider it a bearish trade, because when the stock comes down and I get assigned and I own 100 or 200 shares and I sell a call out of the money, I'm actually long at that point where I want the stock to go up. So it's not really bearish or bullish. It's pretty neutral. when it comes to, you just don't know. Sometimes it's bearish, sometimes it's bullish. It's just depends on where you are at that time. Peter says, I rolled my put hedge 2 weeks ago and paid 89, and now it's only $1.13. So the P&L is down to 228. Yep, I see that right now. If you look at mine, mine's down $195. So I'm going through the same thing there in just 2 weeks because of the SP going up fast. So I guess the market going up fast and carrying DK&G with it. So I think you mean the S&P 500. So this hurts my total P&L on this trade badly. Sure, you're going to have times where you have drawdowns with the system. And typically that put hedge sometimes can cost you, especially when the market goes up significantly like it has over the last week. And we'll see what happens in the future. But you can see I'm still up for the year and doing fine with DK&G. Anthony, the put hedges are killing me. Yeah, sometimes those things will help you, and sometimes they hurt you a little bit. Dino says, sounds like theta. Gotcha. Yep. So that's why we go further out with the theta that we buy, or the longs that we buy. We're further out in time, so we can get a little less. So when the market, when you're further out in time, the theta is a lot lower. But of course, that's why we buy this long call, this $42 call right here, in case the market goes, crazy high. But it looks like it didn't quite reach our long call to kind of compensate for that large move up. So we kind of got stuck right there in the middle. And that's what happens sometimes. All right. And Walter says, almost 60 watching, just 11 likes. Carl deserves more support. Thanks, Walter. I appreciate that. Yes, guys, it would help out a lot if you guys hit that like button. I know you guys hear that over and over and over again whenever you watch YouTube. I watch YouTube all the time, so I hear it so much it's like hard for me to say it, but it does help, and I would appreciate it. Okay. See if there's any other questions or comments. I always like to give, there's like a 5-second lag, I think, with the live. Yeah. Simon says, my long call helped me in Intel last week. Yeah, so that's what that long call is designed to do, is to protect that put hedge. And sometimes it protects it. Sometimes it didn't. Like last week, it didn't really protect us. Our long call didn't get into the money, so we didn't really get that protection we were looking for. So we kind of fell right in the middle. But if you were in Intel, it looks like that worked out well. That long call, it's only $5 basically. Okay, guys. Well, in passing or in parting, I always like to say one thing. So I'm going to get ready here to end the broadcast. But what I like to say is, I have one more comment here, and then I'll end the broadcast. How do you find stocks to trade? Do you have a specific process? Yes, I do. I do have a specific screening process. One thing, you want to make sure that the stocks are between $20 and $40. Also, they need to be very liquid. So there's the fast track that you can get the whole course. If you want to do that, there's a link in the description, or you can watch this live, or go back to the archives and you can see when I picked a new stock, and I'll go through the filters in that particular video. Okay, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. So what I always like to say, if the P&L is not real, what else are they trying to conceal? All right, I'll be back next week. Thanks, guys.